G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it.
Welcome everyone. Today I'm interviewing Joey Coleman, who is Chief Experience Composer at Design Symphony. And Joey's based in Greater Minneapolis in the US. So thanks for your time, Joey.
Mick, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much. And thanks to everybody who's listening in today. I've been looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, well, this is the second time in our podcast. So I appreciate that. The first goes back to 31st of May this year, where we spoke about retention and engagement of employees for small business owners. So this time we're going to sort of flip it to the customer and have a chat about building lasting customer relationships, which is actually what your first book, Never Lose a Customer Again, is all about. So let's rip into it. So maybe just give our listeners a little bit of background about yourself and this topic to kick off.
Sure, Mick. So my career and my background has been incredibly eclectic, as you know from some of our conversations. I was a criminal defense lawyer. I worked in the intelligence community. I worked in the White House Office of Counsel to the President. I taught at the postgraduate level. I worked in corporate sales. I ran an ad agency for almost 20 years. What all of those career choices and different positions helped me to realize is that it is very challenging to convince people to do the things we'd like them to do. And when we focus as a business on trying to get customers and getting people to become our customers and keep them as our customers, a big piece of that is about human psychology and about understanding the human being that we're dealing with and trying to create the best possible experience for them. What we know to be true about humans, whether they're in Tasmania or Tanzania, whether they're in the United States or Uganda, is that human beings like doing business with human beings that they like. And they like doing business with organizations that make them feel seen, make them feel valued, make them feel appreciated. So my entire work around the Never Lose a Customer Again model, my book, my consulting, my speeches, is based on paying attention to the customer journey and what can we do to create the experiences that will keep our customers coming back for more.
Yeah, and the way you put it, it sounds pretty simple, but unfortunately most businesses don't really do much of it, which is fascinating. And is it the book and I guess what you talk about in your book, that's somewhat based on research as well?
Oh, very much so. You know, as I mentioned, I used to be a lawyer. You know, you can take the boy out of the courtroom, but not the courtroom out of the boy. My books have, dozens of pages of endnotes and footnotes and sources and studies. I did my own research. We looked at other people's research. Never Lose a Customer Again has over 46 case studies from all over the world. We really looked at businesses, small, medium, and large, online and offline, product and service, and businesses that did both, to figure out what are the best ways to keep your people coming back for more, to keep them engaged, to get them excited about being a customer, and frankly, telling all of their friends that they're a customer of yours as well, which leads to that beautiful referrals and testimonials and word of mouth marketing that so many small business owners really live by.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it can be so important. So, Joey, what are the biggest mistakes all businesses make in the first 100 days of a customer relationship, you reckon, and how can they avoid them?
Well, Mick, there's a bunch of mistakes they make, but two of the most common ones I see are as follows. Number one, they get really excited, most business owners, about the sales and the marketing and like, how do we fill the funnel? How do we get more people to join? And as soon as that new customer says, all right, I'm going to trust you, I'm going to give you my money, let's start working together, we fail to recognize buyer's remorse. We've all heard of the phrase buyer's remorse, but most of us don't do anything about it. We go home to the office, we're celebrating, we're high-fiving our spouse, the rest of the team. Woohoo, we landed another customer. Meanwhile, the customer's at their house or at their office going, ooh, did I make the right decision? Did I make the right choice? Can I really trust these guys? I love the sales conversation. I love that marketing person I met with, but now that I think about it, I didn't meet with anyone that is actually going to be doing the work that I just hired them to do. Are they going to deliver on the promises they made? How's this going to be? The failure to recognize the difference in our emotional high as the business owner celebrating the new customer and the customer's emotional low, the fear and doubt and uncertainty of buyer's remorse about this brand new relationship, if we don't close that gap and close it quickly, we've got a big problem. So what often happens is businesses don't communicate, or they're quiet in the communication. They're not as interested. It's just slower to get up and going, So what can you do to counterbalance that? Make sure you're staying in regular contact. Make sure that the customer always knows where they are in the journey, what you're doing for them right now, and what you're going to be doing for them next. The second mistake I see most small businesses make is they forget to understand that you, the business owner, have done this hundreds of times, thousands of times, maybe tens of thousands of times. But to a brand new customer, they have no idea how your business works. They don't know your cadence of communication. They don't know your deliverables. They don't know your timelines. And you may say, but Joey, we talked about that in the contract and the proposal. Folks, you signed stuff that you didn't read all the time. And so do your customers, right? So they didn't read it. They didn't pay attention, or they forgot it. You got to hold their hand and help them acclimate to your way of doing business so that you can have them long term.
Yeah, it's sort of, and I guess working with many small businesses, and have probably been guilty at sort of the thrill of the chase, and you get a new client and you, as you say, you celebrate and then you move on to the next. But I think you forget about, as you say, onboarding them and making sure they're not going through that buyer's remorse. So is there any, I guess in that sort of context, from your experience, do you find there's differences in any industries? Like I'm just thinking retail versus service-based and how that can play out.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, Mick. Buyer's remorse is scientifically proven to happen with every single purchase we make. Now, the degree of buyer's remorse goes up the higher the expense of the purchase. We have more buyer's remorse for buying a new car than we do for buying a candy bar at the convenience store, right? However, what we also notice is that most service companies have a built-in, we're going to talk to you in the future, whereas in most retail organizations, they don't. I come into your store, I buy something and I leave. Unless you're actively to stay in touch with me, or unless something goes wrong, you're probably not going to hear from me again. So you want to build in loops to keep you in regular conversation with the customer. So something that maybe when they get home and they open your product up, there's a little message inside that says, hey, you just opened up the product. We're so excited you're going to use it. After you get it up and running, I had one recently where I bought something and they were like, take a picture of it hanging in your house. It was a piece of art. They were like, text us the photos so we can see what wall you wanted to put it on. I thought, well, that's pretty clever. They know I bought the art. They know I'm going to hang it in my house. Now, when I text them that, now we're in communication. Now they know, hey, they actually did something with it. Instead of many customers, for example, if they're buying a shirt, they might buy the shirt, take it home, put it in the closet, and not even take the tags off it. They might not even wear it for a few weeks or a few months. How do we know that the customer's enjoying the product if we're not in regular conversation with them to see how it's going?
Yeah, that's some interesting points. So which customer touch points matter most for retaining customers and clients then?
I would say not only do we want to have regular touch points, but we want to have personal touch points, right? So what are the things that allow me as a customer to feel like I matter as an individual? What is the first thing most companies do when they get a new customer? They assign them a customer number, an account number. And yet almost every business, if you were to say to them, do you treat your people like numbers? They'll say, no, we treat them like, really? Then why is the first thing you're doing giving me an account number? Now, I want to be clear because I know there's some folks listening that are like, Joey, we got to give them a number. We got to be able to track them some way. I get that. But let's make sure that when we give them a number, we don't use that as an excuse to not pay attention to them as a person. The most important touch points we have as business owners are when we look our customer in the eye. Whether that's an in-person interaction over a Zoom call, sending them a video on a text where we shoot a little selfie video on our phone and text it to them, where they can see us looking into the camera, making eye contact, saying, you matter. You're important to me. I'm working on your project. I'm excited to be working together. Here's what we did yesterday. Here's what we're doing next time. I'm looking forward to our meeting next week. Whatever it may be, what are those personal communications you're extending to let the customer know you're thinking about them and working on their product or their service, even when they're not right in front of you?
Yeah, and you mentioned, like, just simple as taking a little video and texting it to a customer. It's a good example. You can do this and those touch points without spending a lot of money, right?
Absolutely. I mean, most business owners already have a phone, and most of their customers already have a phone. So I had a situation years ago where I had hired somebody to mow my lawn. Okay. And what was fascinating is every time they came to mow the lawn, once it was all done and it had been cleaned up, they'd snap a picture and text it to me. Now, I might be at work, I might be on the road traveling, whatever. I'd just get a little picture that says, "Hey, Joey, lawn looks great. Thanks again for being a customer." They proved that they did the job. That was great. It was simple. It literally took them 10 seconds to take that photo and text it to me. And yet every time it happened, I was like, oh, I made a good choice. I hired that company. Look at them. Look how good my lawn looks. Every business can be thinking more intentionally about the types of communications they're having with their customers and how they're using quick, easy things like text messages or short messages to be able to say, "I'm paying attention. You matter to me."
Yeah, it's a good point. I think it's somewhat, I guess, embedding a process around that, right? Because, small business owners listen to this go, I just don't have time for that, which is bullshit. But I think it's more just, it's making a priority.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. Would a small business owner say, "I didn't have time to get gas for the lawnmower to mow the lawn"? No, of course you need to do that. That's part of the job. Make it part of the process. Make taking a photo a part of the process. Lots of times I will say, business leaders will come to me and they'll say, "Joey, I really care about my customers, but it doesn't seem to be working." I say, "Great, open your calendar." They're like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Just open your calendar. You've got it right there on your phone. Open your calendar and show me next Tuesday." They're like, "Why next Tuesday?" I said, "I'm just picking a random day." We go to next Tuesday. How much time have you allocated for showing love to your customers, giving them personal and emotional attention, communicating with them? "Well, I've got this internal meeting with this person and this internal meeting with this, and then I'm working on this, and then I'm doing this." And I'm like, where's the customer on this? "Oh, well, Joey, you just picked a wrong day." Fine, you pick the day. Show me a day where you're devoting regular, consistent time to your customer relationships. Most businesses aren't.
Yep. So it can be somewhat self-fulfilling as far as the outcomes.
Absolutely. Show me your calendar. I'll show you what matters to you.
Exactly.
Are one or more of these growth pillars standing in the way of you living the lifestyle you signed up for? People, strategy, marketing, funding, or systems? We have a free ebook filled with actions and templates on each of these growth pillars. Download for free from our website, growasmallbusiness.com.
So Grow a Small Business, we're about helping small business owners grow their business. So how should small business owners create a personalised experience when managing a growing business in this context?
Yeah, here's the great thing, Mick. We all want to grow our businesses, right? We all hope our business next year is bigger than this year. And the reality is most small business owners were really good at personalized communication in the beginning because they only had one customer. It's not hard for me to remember all the customers' names when I only have one customer or two or three, and I'm talking to them all the time and being in touch. Well, now when you have 50 or 100 or 300, now it's a lot more difficult to stay in touch. The secret is systems. The secret is a process. The secret is a checklist. If I have a checklist with 10 things, and we were talking earlier, I've got 2 young boys. Whenever we go on a trip, my wife is kind enough to put together a packing list, a checklist of everything they have to pack. We print it off and we give it to them and they pack themselves. My youngest boy is 8. He's been packing his own bag for 2 years when he was 6. Now, what he does is he goes through and he gets all the clothes and he lays them out next to the suitcase. And then dad comes along with the checklist that mom made, sits down next to the suitcase and says, "Oh, 3 pairs of socks. Oh, good job. You got 3 pairs of socks. 4 pairs of underwear. Oh, good. You got 4 pairs of underwear. 2 pairs of shoes. Ooh, there's only 1 pair of shoes. We need to go get another pair of shoes. When you have a checklist, it's really easy to make sure that things don't fall through the cracks. So the question I ask business owners is, what is your checklist of personalized care for your customer? What are you doing? You have a checklist for what the deliverables are. You sure as heck have a checklist of when you're sending invoices and whether or not they're getting paid. But do you have a checklist of when you send them a thank you note? Is that on your checklist? Is when do you send them a video telling them how much you appreciate your business? Is that on your checklist? Are you sending them gifts, little presents, little things, thanking them for their patronage? Is that on a checklist? Or are you just doing it when you think of it? Well, the problem with doing it when you think of it is most businesses are growing so fast that the business owner has very little time to think and very little time to do. And so we better have a checklist that makes sure that we don't have to think and we know what to do.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. And I guess part of Acrow Small Business, one of our content pillars is systems and processes, and obviously that's on the back of being so important. So again, it's a good reminder. It doesn't matter what in the business, a process and documented process is so important. So what strategies or tools do you recommend for small business owners to keep track of customer satisfaction and engagement over time? So, because measuring stuff like this is so important. So have you got any sort of good ideas there?
Yeah, I think what you need to do is you need to look at what kind of business are you in? Are you in a business that relies on somebody buying one and then buying another one and another one and another one, right? A repeat business with a single customer? Or are you in the kind of business that you're probably only deal with them once in a while, if ever? And that business is more based on referrals and recommendations. So let's say I've got 2 clients, right? I've got one client who sells sandwiches. Okay. If I sell you a sandwich for lunch, I got the chance to sell you a sandwich for lunch again tomorrow. I've got another client who's a law firm that helps people that have been in car accidents. Well, if you were in a car accident yesterday, I don't want you to be in a car accident tomorrow. I don't want you to be in a car accident ever again if we can avoid it. So what kind of business are you in? And then when you think about tracking their customer satisfaction and their customer engagement, it depends. If you're in a business with repeat sales, what you want to be tracking is when is the last time they purchased from you and how many times have they purchased from you? And the more they purchase from you and the more frequently they purchase from you, the more you should show them the love. One of the things, Mick, that unlike some of my contemporaries in the world of customer experience and customer service, I don't believe every customer needs to be treated equally. A lot of people are like, oh, you got to treat them all equally. No, you don't. You can treat your best customers like your best customers. Do special things for them. Go above and beyond for them. If I've got somebody who's booked me to give 10 speeches, I'm going to show them all kinds of love as opposed to the person who books me 1 speech. It's not that I don't like the person, less who only did 1. It's that I like the person who did 10 more. So it's okay to do that in the repeat business. Measuring satisfaction on the business that maybe doesn't have a repeat business, maybe you sell houses or you do remodeling for someone and you're kind of like, well, they're not going to remodel their house every year. Then it's all about word of mouth and referral. And it's about then tracking how many referrals have they given you? How many of your customers, if you went to them and asked for a testimonial, would give you one? And if you're not sure, go try to ask 20 of them and see. You want that number to be pretty high. If it's not high, we could be doing better. How many of your customers are making referrals to you? And when they do make a referral to you, how are you showing the love for the referral? Is it, oh, thanks, Mick, appreciate you pointing them in my direction? Or are you giving them a piece of the proceeds? Or are you doing something special for them? How do we reward the behavior in our customer that we want them to keep doing? We acknowledge it. We give thanks for it. Sometimes we even give a monetary value for it, whether that's a referral fee or some extra product or a bonus or, oh, thanks for coming into our restaurant tonight. You can have a free slice of cake because it's a special day for you or whatever, because you come in all the time. What are we doing to go that extra mile that lets the customers know that we care?
Yeah, good point. And so for a small business owner, what early signs indicate that a customer might be considering leaving? So, in a case that more often than not, they haven't done what you've just been talking about. So are there signs, and how should they respond to prevent that churn of customer?
Yeah, one of the biggest signs that a customer's thinking about leaving is they get quiet. They just don't talk to you anymore. They don't return your calls. They don't return your emails. So you want to be paying attention to, are they opening my emails? Are they reading them? Are we creating regular communication? It's a lot harder to quit a friend than to quit a business. So if you're friends with them and you're talking to them and there's, we understand each other personally and emotionally. I know a little bit about your kids. You know a little bit about mine. Now we're having conversations. It's going to be a lot harder to fire me than if it's just, Mick's the guy that I do business with on that street that I see once every 3 months or whatever it may be. What are you doing to double down into that relationship? The other thing is when people have a tendency to think that if a customer is complaining about something, that's bad news. I actually think it's good news. Because if a customer complains about something, it means they care. And if you show them and fix it, the research actually shows they will score you higher as being more satisfied than if it had never gone wrong in the first place. Now, Mick, let me be clear, because there's a couple small business owners there. They're like, I got it. We just start messing things up for our customers all the time, and then we'll fix them, and then they'll be happier. No, folks. That's not what I'm suggesting. Okay. But what I am suggesting is don't use the opportunity of a customer being upset to think that the relationship's over. Some of the strongest relationships I've ever had are ones that had rocky points, but we got to the other side because we worked together on it. So I would say make sure, in many ways, contact is good contact. Being in regular communication is a good thing. Make sure you're doing that and try to find ways to connect personally and emotionally.
Yeah, so you're sort of boiling it down to somewhat comes back to communication, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yep. And I guess, again, in any relationship, communication is so critical. But like you've been saying, it's somewhat about the process around communication, when you do it, how you do it, to sort of create a relationship that's ongoing. So just to close out, Joey, are there any low-cost retention tactics, let's call it, that you believe all small business owners should implement after listening to you?
Well, I have two favorite, I have one kind of category of low-cost retention tactics that can show up in one of two ways. One way costs you less than a minute and is probably free. The other one costs you less than 5 minutes and is probably going to cost you about $2, maybe $3. So I'll leave it to the folks to decide which one is low enough cost for them. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the super expensive $2 to $3 solution. Okay. It's called the thank you note, a handwritten thank you note, thanking the customer for their business, where you actually take a pen and paper. Now, some of you younger kids listening to the podcast may need to have a grown-up explain to this, or one of those old people tell you what this is. But it used to be somebody would handwrite a thank you note, put it in the post, and mail it to you. If I were to ask everybody listening to think about when was the last time you received a handwritten thank you note from a business you did business with, most people can't remember. But if you can remember receiving one, my question would be, do you still have it? And the research shows more than 80% of people still have it. Why? Because it's proof that they matter. It's proof that they made an impact. When someone writes us a handwritten thank you note, we don't want to throw it away. We feel guilty if we throw it away. We keep it. We remember it. We put it on our desk. We think highly of them as a result. Why? Because they took the time to say thank you. It's that simple. 3 or 4 sentences. Hey, Mick, so love having you as a customer. I really appreciate fill in the blank, something you appreciate about them. I love it when I see you because we always fill in the blank, talk about whatever it may be. I'm looking forward to next time already, Joey. That simple. Less than 5 minutes to write, put it in the mail it to them. But if $2 to $3 is too expensive for your liking, how about the free version? The thank you video. It's the exact same thing, but you pull out your phone. You switch it to selfie mode on the camera. You shoot a video. The video goes something like this. Hey, Mick, you've been a customer for a while now, and I was sitting around here today listening to this great podcast, and the guy on the podcast was talking about who's your favorite customer. And as soon as he said that, I immediately thought of you. I don't think I've said enough how much I enjoy having you as a customer, how much I value and appreciate your trust in your business, but how much I value the fact that we've been able to work together over the last few years and really accomplish some great things together. I'm excited to see what we do next. Take care, mate. Stop, text, send. Done. Pro tip here, all you listeners, you're going to want to watch the video. Don't watch the video. You're all going to think, I'm going to just flip the camera over and watch the video. No. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to watch a video. You're going, oh, I don't like the way my hair looks. I don't like the sound. Oh, I kind of stumbled on that part. And you're going to shoot the video again. And this time you're going to go, hey, Mike. Oh, shoot. No, he goes by Mick. Hey, Mick. I'm Joey. Geez, how do I not remember this? Let me film it again. Hey, Mick, it's Joey. Thanks. What was I going to say? And you're not going to send the video.
Yep.
Shoot the video, make it honest, make it real. Less than 45 seconds is fine. Text it to them. If you do one of these a day, I would posit you will never need to worry about finding customers in your business again. Because again, I ask you, when is the last time you got a thanks for doing business with me video from the owner? That would probably be never. You can stand out in the marketplace with a tool you already have, with an action that takes less than 1 minute and is free. All you got to be willing to do is shoot a video of yourself and text it without watching it.
Yeah, it's a great way to close the chat, mate. I think that's awesome couple of tips that hopefully those that listen take that away and actually implement into their business. So appreciate the chat. It's always good, and take care, and hopefully we'll do another one next year.
Thanks much, Mick. And thanks to everybody for listening in. As Mick said, hopefully you got one or two things that you can experiment and try. And if you do, let me know how it goes. Reach out to me. I can be easily found on my website, joeycoleman.com. Just send me a message. Let me know how the video went, how the thank you note went, how doing any of these things to focus on creating personal and emotional connection with your customers is going to help you continue to grow your business.
Yeah, awesome, mate. And we'll put in the show notes a link to your book. So thanks again.
Thanks much, Mick.
Want to help other small business owners improve their business? There's one quick thing you can do, which is jump over to iTunes and leave a review. Or if you don't have an account, follow us on Spotify.